Alejandra, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Here.
Mr. Lindemann?
Here.
Dr. Gomez?
Here.
Mr. Ramos?
Here.
Mr. Berain?
Here. Item D, approval of the minutes. Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berain?
Yes. Item E, summary of current events. Ms. Samaniego.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. President, board members, members of the community and staff. First of all, we want to offer our condolences to the Ray Berain Middle School staff and to the family of Miss Ron, H-R-O-N. She passed away a few weeks ago, just after 2 weeks as a new teacher hire. And so we wanted to mention that and acknowledge that for our BMS teacher. Obviously, good news is that we won the pick. And so the pick is back for a second year in a row. And this week we have parent-teacher conferences, and Wednesday is not an early release day. It will be on Thursday for students, and staff works from 1 to 7 as they're there for parent conferences. And then Friday is our early release day. And that's all I have.
Governing board members, any reports?
Mr. President,
Mr. Lindemann.
I just wanted to say congratulations to the Bulldog football team for their win, and we'll have the rest of the season. I wish them good luck. Thank you.
Any other board members? Item F, school activity report. Alejandra McGrew.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Samaniego, and members of the public. The activity report at DHS and DUSD schools for the month of September is as follows. The school highlights. We've got great news to share about our students at DHS. DHS Athletics is live and in action with the golf team bringing in the first win of the season for fall sports, defeating Nogales and Buena in their home opener on August 25th. The pick remains at Douglas High School. The Bulldogs beat the Bisbee Pumas in a nail-biter final score 10-8. Congratulations to Coach Long and the Bulldogs on their first victory of the season. Our seniors participated in the Binational Education Week on August 24th, where the Mexican Consulate, Cochise College, Eastern Arizona College, U of A, Western New Mexico State, the U.S. Army, and the U.S. Navy were at DHS providing information for our seniors interested in college and career path choices. What's going on in our district? All schools will be having parent-teacher conferences on September 8th, DHS 2 o'clock to 7 p.m. and all other schools 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m. Douglas High School. September 2nd was football versus Bisbee. September 6th was the Cochise College senior visit. On September 7th, DHS PTSO meeting. September 14th, Alice training for DHS staff. September 23rd, first home varsity football game versus Rio Rico. September 26th through the 30th is homecoming week. September 28th is Powder Puff, the seniors versus the juniors. September 29th is homecoming parade and bonfire. September 30th, homecoming football versus Independence. Paul Huber Middle School. Paul Huber Middle School had our student council elections. President is Abigail Gonzalez, Vice President Diego Duarte. Paul Huber Middle School athletic events begin August 30th. Benchmarks have been completed. Clawson. PTSO Penny War is underway at Clawson. Teachers are busily working on fair projects. We held our annual MOWR and Title I PTSO meeting last month. This year, Clawson is offering dance as enrichment, and our students are working hard to learn their dance for their upcoming performances. Stevenson. Congratulations to Stevenson's 2022 to 2023 Student Council President Ezra Figueroa, Vice President Alexa Luzania, Secretary Alison Dorame, Treasurer Ronaldo Jubera. PTSO meeting Tuesday, August 30th at 5:30 p.m. in the NPR room. Electing new officers. Sarah Marley. Sarah Marley recently had our student council election, and we are proud to announce this year's student council officers. The president is Kaylee Moreno, vice president Germán Arvizu, treasurer Mia Soto, and secretary Jennifer Pedrosa. Congratulations to them and to everyone who ran for office. Win or lose, we are proud of you all for your interest in making our school the best it can be. And Ferris. Congratulations to our new elected student body officers for Ferris Elementary. President Juliet Chavez, Vice President Gustavo Valencia, Secretary Mila Armenta, Treasurer Bella Perez, Historian Kelsey Beltran, Sergeant of Arms Darian Hurtado. Ferris will have their first parent reunion for kindergarten through second grade on September 12, 2022, third through fifth grade on September 13, 2022. First PTSO meeting was held on Tuesday, August 30th, 2022. Kindergarten students sang a song for our parents. Thank you, Ms. Tostado, Ferris kindergarten teacher. And Ferris celebrated Black and Gold Day on Friday, September 2nd, 2022. Congrats to the Bulldogs.
Thank you very much. Mr. Soto, budget balances and travel report.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, board members. You have the August report for the budget cash balances. I want to remind you that we're planning to have a budget revision for next month. As you remember correctly, at the beginning of the year, the state wasn't ready with the form, so we have to propose and adopt a budget with the previous year per pupil allocation. So now, for next month, then we're going to come and on a regular board meeting, and we're going to propose revise our budget with the new figures. So what you see right now is what we have at this point. You can see some percentages and balances there, but there's still a lot of stuff that is not encumbered at this point. But next month, hopefully, we're going to have a better picture on what the budget for the whole year is going to be. Do you have a specific question in regards to the
Members of
budget
the
right
board,
now?
any questions or comments regarding any part of that report? No. Where is the travel report?
It's there at the bottom.
Is it in the background information?
Yes.
Okay, members of the board, do you have any questions regarding the travel report?
Well, I was looking at it, and there was something. Did I think, no, I missed it. But anyway, I'm glad that we get that report. That was very good.
Speaking of the budget, and a question for the administration, regarding the Senate Bill 1036, I think was the number, I'm not sure, the one that was passed where they literally watered down all the requirements for teacher certification. Has the administration given any thought to salaries regarding those people? Because in my judgment, anybody that has a degree that can get on the path according to that certification doesn't merit or deserve to have the same pay that a certified person would have. So I'm wondering, and I don't know if we should put it up for discussion with the board regarding whether or not those people should be on the regular salary schedule or not. When you look at what the legislature did, they took away all of the background, the background professional preparation that a teacher had with all of the coursework they had to take. And again, and without getting back into all of the historical part of all of that, to me, it's not equitable that those people, whoever you hire, to come in that capacity now and would have, be placed on a first year or second year and definitely not get any teaching experience credit, shouldn't be on that salary schedule. So I don't know what your thoughts are. Just the question was initially, did you budget for those people with the vacancies that you knew you had as first-year teachers or whatever, max 5? I think that's what you do. You give them up, you budget for max 5, right?
Correct.
So So have you thought about that? Have you given that any thought about how those people are gonna be paid and whether or not they merit even being on the same salary schedule with a professional certified teacher? Not a lot of conversation
Yes.
regarding it, just, just.
No, but
answer.
if, we haven't gone to the extent of actually discussing whether a person that would be hired under those new policy guide or statute guidelines would have a different salary. We haven't had that discussion. But if I may, I can bring back at our next agenda a presentation that I can do on that Senate bill and the changes so that we can fully understand what it says in detail. Currently, we have teachers coming to our districts under an emergency teacher certificate, for example. They may come from the background of education, but they haven't passed their certification, so at least they went to school to become a teacher, right? Or you may have a CTE teacher, for example, that comes from the trade and gets a CTE certificate. They're placed on the same salary schedule. So I think that merits more discussion and more thought process in order for us to make a recommendation or even a presentation first and then make a decision whether we need to have an alternative placement salary schedule.
Yeah, it'd be cumbersome,
Yes.
but to me, and I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but it's something I think we need to discuss and look at, because you're gonna be getting people that aren't anywhere near prepared, and there's gonna be a lot of them, because of the lack of the certified people availability, not only here, everywhere else. All right, we'll get off of that, but you did budget for
Out of the
them.
budget vacancy.
All right, and then, because it has to do with the budget and it has to do with penalty clauses and those kinds of things, how's the construction going as far as the date and the finishing date's concerned?
We haven't had a specific date. The last memo that I was shared with the board, I don't remember, Mrs. Samaniego remind me, but I think it says November 20th, November 29th, around there. They haven't given us an update as far as they're going to need more days or they're going to finish earlier. At this point, we're dealing with still the closure of Eddy Avenue, which is very, very bad, especially for the traffic for Joe Carlson Elementary. In fact, this coming weekend, we're going to have to be on call because they're going to be hopefully fixing the gas lines and the water pipes and everything. So maintenance, a couple of maintenance people and myself are going to be available to actually, whenever they're done, go relieve some of the valves at Joe Carlson at the high school and make sure that everything gets done. That's the most critical issue at this point on the Eddy Avenue. And we're going to have another meeting this Thursday that we can probably talk about if there's any updates on finishing the project.
Were there any issues with initially, I know there was a lot of conversation regarding the water in the city and the meters and so on. Did that get resolved? Did you guys resolve that?
I don't recall anything about meters.
I think that was APS.
No, it was the water. The situation with the water in the city was going to charge the district a astronomical amount of money to put in new meters, or?
No, I think that was early in
There's
the
no
project.
issues with
That was.
So that's not an issue?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
No.
All right, human,
Gray?
yes.
Okay, I just, what has happened, or have you heard anything else about the situation with APS?
In regards of the construction?
With
And the
transformer?
And the
transformers.
transformer.
Yes.
I will say that, if I may, they're still having difficulties with APS, and so there's still ongoing conversation. They're more involved than they were last time. And on Thursday, we're going to have a better update as to where the transformer is, when it's going to be installed. The transformer, as you remember, it was in Phoenix, but they had to redesign some of the things that APS had failed to do or not done accurately at the very beginning. And so on Thursday, I'm getting an update on that. And we may have ownership or some buildings completed in November. And that's what they're going to tell me on Thursday, which buildings are going to have completed by the end of November.
But will they have the electricity?
Yes, if they have some of the buildings completed, is because that transformer is already been
Yeah,
placed.
if the transformer comes in.
Correct.
Yes.
And they will, but those buildings will be ready
Yes.
for student use.
Yes, and that's what they were telling me.
Okay, and this conversation's allowable
Yes.
because we're talking about the budget and the potential for a penalty, which means money and all of those associated with the building.
Well, Mr. Brain.
Go ahead.
Let me say, when you're talking penalty, the more that I have researched this and stuff like that, is that the engineering firm, the architects and everything like that, should have presented to APS at the beginning of what they were going to need. Then that way APS could then say, okay, this is what we're going to put up because you're going to need this. And I don't think that happened. I think the construction company was lax, and when they finally said, okay, we're going to need this, well, it's not available. And that's why we were set back 2 months, month.
Right, and again, this will be the last word on it, because I want to make sure we're within the parameters. The thing that this board, we all need to be cognizant of is the fact that we're going to be dealing with that company in the penalty, because there's no way in the world they're going to meet the target date. I don't know if you guys have been out there and looked at it, but I mean, they're a long ways off. So we need to be ready to assess if we have to, but and he needs to bring back to the board very soon and I know that Alan, and he didn't want that conversation with me or the board that day when we started talking, and that's when we start getting all of the rhetoric about APS and they didn't do this, and Dr. Gomez is right on. That should have all been done up front with the architect, but we are going to be dealing with that, and that's going to be tough because it's a significant amount of money a day. So anyway, all right. Any other quick comments regarding that, and we'll move on. All right. Thank you for that, Mrs. Cox.
Good afternoon. So our enrollment currently for the month of September is 3,853. In August, it was 3,906. So we've had about a decrease of 53 students, and it's mainly due to people either moving out of town or a 10-day drop. Okay, so that's where we are currently. In HR, so we still have 2 middle school vacancies that we are still actively recruiting. We have a 6th grade ELA position, and then the 6th grade science position due to the teacher who passed away. Okay, so.
It would be interesting if Anna now would let you know if anybody specifically states that they're leaving because of the new voucher expansion.
Okay.
Because it's pretty loose now.
Yes.
And I think statewide, I was telling the board earlier, I think there's been 6,400 new requests for those vouchers. So it'd just be interesting to know if locally it's affecting the Douglas schools.
I
All
will,
right.
if I may add, under Mrs. Cox's attendance report, just for information purposes only, I wanted to let the board know that there have been a lot of guardianships requests that go through the court, not through us, being denied by the judge in Bisbee. So there's a lot of families that have been denied guardianship. And when there is no guardianship, then, that results into not having the proper paperwork to stay enrolled in the district. And that has been happening a lot. So just want you to know that many students will be dropping due to guardianship.
Well, now that you brought that up, but you know, because you're over the new student center, that they yearly, not only new guardianships, but yearly, they have to come back and reconfirm.
Yes.
Every year with the court. So
Yes.
Are any of those
Those
attributed
are
to that?
and
Okay.
from what we're hearing is, the latest incident that happened with the child at RBMS that got hit by a car and passed away at the end of last school year was on guardianship, and so that kind of led to a huge, accountability or oversight at the court.
Well, that whole issue might be, it's tacit what we're talking about, but that whole issue regarding guardianships and the illegal attendance, if you want a state official to come down here with vans and cameras in the vans and following those people to and from the border, you vote for Tom Horn. So, anyway. Is that it?
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, he did it before.
I know.
When I said that. Call to the public. I have them both. I have Jennifer Lieberts wants to talk about district salaries. Jennifer? I think it.
There are two of us. Can we speak
Huh?
together?
Yeah, I think they want to speak together under the 3 minutes.
Well, it says call to the public.
Yes.
Yeah. So you want 6 minutes?
Just 3. We can do it in 3.
We can have
We're
6.
very, or 6.
Well, that's a nice little tactic.
Thank you,
That's a
Diane.
nice little
Good.
tactic.
Can I hand those out?
Yes.
Okay. President Barain, members of the board, Mrs. Samaniego, DUSD administration, and guests, my name is Brita Kimball, and I'm the current Douglas Education Association Vice President. This is Jennifer Lieberts. She's our DEA site rep for Paul Huber. Douglas is receiving new legislator-approved money that totals just over $2 million. Our funding estimates came from the Joint Legislative Budget Council and are broken down as follows. $1.6 million added to the base. This is based on the total weighted student count of 4,870.24 students as of July 15th. I don't know where 2.4 comes from, but it's there. $216,540 for DUSD Group B weights, $205,000 for district additional assistance.
As you are probably aware,
There are some salary issues with Douglas Unified School District. There is something called compression, or in the case that I'm about to show you, leapfrogging. So teacher A has 16 years of experience. They have a master's degree, and they're making $46,702. Teacher B, 7 years of experience with Douglas Unified, also has a master's degree, and this person is making $46,865. I am teacher B, and she is teacher A.
And you'll notice that teacher B is making $163 more than teacher A.
We came about knowing about these kinds of compression and leapfrogging issues because we recently had a meeting. We had 9 certified people there. Of the 9 certified people there, 5 people could give you examples of this or had issues with salary.
So if we found those 5 issues when we met with 9 people, can you imagine what that looks like district-wide? Okay, we can show you more examples. We are asking that the district use a portion of this $2 million that's coming in to correct these salary issues and to correct them this year. It's imperative that we attract quality educators, but it's really important that we keep and appreciate qualified educators that choose to stay in this district. Thank you for your time.
So that was both of them together, then that was Brita and her together? All right. All right. Well, we won't get any conversation about that. Item 2, consent agenda items. A, approval of the following consent agenda items, payroll and expense voucher reports 1 through 3. Entertain a motion to approve. Mr.
I
Lemon?
move to approve the expense reports.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Salchow. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salchow?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Barain?
Yes. Item 3, action items. Discussion action on the approval of certified hires. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, board, there's a long list of different hires, most of them either for our 21st century, our after-school academic enrichment, after-school tutoring, and a few emergency subs.
I'll get a motion on the floor. You want to make that motion, Ms. Salchow?
Yes, I move, so moved, I move we approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Mr. Lindemann, are you going to declare a conflict? You don't have to, actually, because it's a pool.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
I need a conflict.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, but just for the record, to make sure that it's clearly understandable that you don't have to, because there is no conflict there.
Right, and there's
But
no
it'd be best if we did it this way rather than to have you make that motion. All right, any discussion regarding that? Any discussion by the administration?
No.
Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes,
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes. And that was quite a few of them, wasn't it?
Yes. So we're on B.
Item B, discussion action on the approval of classified hires. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, again, you don't have that long a list, but there's 21st century, academic enrichment, after-school program, food service grounds, and a couple IAs.
Mr. Lindemann, will you make that motion?
Yes, I move to approve the certified hires.
Is there a second?
second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes,
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, item C, discussion, action on the approval of classified resignations. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, we have two instructional IAs resigning, one in September the 9th and one in October.
Roll call.
I
Oh,
need a
no,
motion.
you need a motion, I'm
I
sorry.
move to approve the classified resignations.
Second,
second.
by Ms. Salchow. Any discussion?
Yes, I got a question.
Dr. Gomez.
Why are they resigning like during the year? What, I mean, why don't they resign at the end of the year?
Family. So one of them is family, a family situation.
Okay.
That she needs to take care
And the other one?
of. The other one, I got a message today that it's family. She's having some family issues, but didn't state that originally.
And so our classified staff, Dr. Gomez, usually the only thing that really we ask them is, well, one, to stay there during the year and fulfill their contract, but we can't hold them. They have to at least give us a 2-week notice, and that's classified staff.
Okay.
Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes,
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, item D, discussion, action on the approval of certified transfer. Ms. Samaniego.
Okay. As presented, as you all know, I had communicated with you via my governing board update that Douglas High School had interviewed one candidate, and so had Rayburn Middle School, and that individual went to Rayburn. So leaving the athletic director position vacant at DHS, and because it is a very important position, we had to look at what our options were, and I've appointed Mr. Angel Vidal, who I feel extremely confident in fulfilling the role and duties of an athletic director. With the support and guidance of Mrs. Rodriguez, who's going to be overseeing, the entire program in itself. And Mr. Vidal will fulfill that role as the athletic director.
Do you want to add about Mr. Walker? Because I think
Yes.
that's important for the board to
And-
know that we have somebody like Mr. Walker with that much experience.
Yes, and so in addition to being guided and supported and supervised by Mrs. Rodriguez, I've arranged mentorship through Mr. Walker, former athletic director himself, and so they have a weekly stand-in meeting where they meet, and we'll go over, from AIA bylaws, which were given to him by Mr. Walker as his first day homework. So they will have a weekly stand-in meeting for mentoring, and as any support that he needs, Mr. Walker will be a phone call away.
Yeah, and that's a very good move, getting Mr. Walker, because he's well-known, he's, you can't say enough about it. And I think it's a good move on your part, because I understand that there's 8 athletic director vacancies in the county. 7 now?
7 out of 9.
7, so.
In the county?
In the county.
That were vacant that are now filled.
Oh, okay, they're now
They're
filled.
now 100% filled with him.
Okay, all right. So the thing that's prominent in the whole conversation is that that's a difficult job to fill, And so we might as well move forward, and I think it's a good recommendation on your part, and just go with that. So we need a motion. Mr. Lindeman?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any further discussion?
I just wanted to say that it's a good thing that Randy will be there to, help him out and everything. And Randy's a very highly qualified person, I feel, to be able to mentor.
And Mrs. Rodriguez,
Angel, you
an
pay
an
attention.
athlete and a former coach, and she'll make sure that program stays afloat and and manage it.
Angel by Melissa.
Well, that goes without saying, I
Yes.
think. That wields a big stick. Any further discussion? Do you want to say anything, Mr. Vidal, before we take the vote? Don't say anything that you might think compromise the vote, because
Members of the board, audience, I look forward to moving this program forward and going to the next level. So, wish me luck.
thank you. Thank you. No, we're confident you're going to be doing it. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Move to
Seltzer?
approve. Move to approve.
I already had a motion.
We already have it
Oh,
on.
we already did.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes. Item 8, discussion, action on the approval of classified transfers, Ms. Samaniego.
Yes, as presented, and if you notice, they're going from one position to another position, which may require an increase of hours and increase in pay.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
Second
Second.
by Ms. Salchow. Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes. Item F, discussion action on the approval of increase in hours, Ms. Samaniego.
And as presented, these are our food service workers who are moving up to about a half hour to an hour increase. And this is due to the demand in some of those positions that we had dropped down some hours a couple years ago. They're bringing them back.
The hours.
The hours, increasing hours.
Because of the pandemic?
And then, yes, and then some vacancies, right?
Yes.
Vacancies
Well,
that we
that's good.
had.
You're
Yes.
giving those people their
Yes.
hours back. All right, great.
Move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman, is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes. Item G, discussion action on the approval of addendum, Ms. Samaniego.
Okay. As presented, and you have a long list of various addendums. I had included in your background information that Mrs. Selchow had requested as far as CTSO sponsors and what do they teach, what are some of their duties, the department chairs. So you have middle school sponsors, high school sponsors, so it's all the agendas as presented.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman, is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. I noticed you've got Bianca Hernandez on there.
Yes.
And again, that's a very highly
qualified.
qualified person. Could you just kind of briefly tell the board?
Yes. What we're
Good to have her
doing
there,
now.
what she's going to be doing?
Yes. So obviously, the move of Mr. Vidal left the curriculum assistant principal position vacant as well. And the importance of this position is huge, and the responsibility. So Mrs. Bianca Hernandez, for this year as an interim secondary curriculum coordinator role, will be supporting that vacancy along with teaching. She's going to continue teaching and supporting the curriculum aspect of that job. She will not be disciplining kids. She does have a supervisory certificate, which allows her to be in, having that supervisory role. And so very knowledgeable, very capable, a former curriculum coach. And I think it is the right person to help Mrs. Rodriguez and Mr. Vidal and Mr. Young in carrying out the duties and responsibilities of that job.
Okay, members of the board, any further comments, question?
So regarding Ms. Hernandez's role, it will be more than math, and it'll be all subject areas or the main subject areas?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Just give me a nod, yeah.
Okay, any further discussion?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Okay, Because we had it on the agenda last month, and now you have on there the online. The
Yes,
Okay, the
So now they're,
online,
now they're,
teachers. Okay, so what happens if there's, I'm looking at one right now, that is a teacher, but she also has other responsibilities with the high school?
yes. So the way that the online program works, of course, as I explained, it's a independent, self-paced work for the students, right? The teachers are available after their work hours, evenings. They have a set office hour, and I believe that is anywhere from 3 to 5 p.m. They will be answering emails, supporting kids, and that can happen as late as 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night sometimes. And so there are teachers on there that have other duties, that may be doing a sports or after-school tutoring or anything like that. But I can assure you that the coordinator, the AOI coordinator, is in constant communication. They have a weekly meeting that she does with them, and they have a log where they're logging their contact with the students and their support. So
Okay.
it will happen.
And the coordinator is Ms. Chaps?
Yes,
Okay.
And these hours always take place after?
after, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
Yes, sir.
Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berring?
Yes, item H, discussion action on the approval of addendums for middle school athletics for San Diego.
Okay. As presented, we have various sports that we've had for the last couple years, and we are including basketball, baseball, soccer. You will see that some sports are not listed there for Ray Middle School, and that's not because we don't have the funding for it. It's just because Mrs. La Madrid has not found a staff member that has been interested in coaching that sport, and that is unfortunate, but she'll continue to work on that.
So if she does find somebody, then you'll
Then
come
we'll
back.
bring him back.
You'll bring it
Yes,
back.
yeah, she has to, bring that
You don't
back.
want to approve the position and the salary, and, well,
It's
no,
already
we
done.
won't complicate
Yes,
it.
yes.
You budgeted for all of this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second,
Second.
by Mr. Ramos. Any discussion, members of the board? Ms. Salchow?
For those sports where RBMS doesn't have a coach, is there a possibility that they could come over to Huber and be coached over there until they do have someone, so those students aren't missing out?
I don't see why not. We'd have to discuss those details and then maybe transportation to and from for practices and things like that, but
I
it could
just
be.
hate for
yes.
our students are very, that they have the same opportunities.
So I can definitely discuss that with both principals.
Thank you.
Mr. Soto?
How about, any other position like tutoring, can we probably ask other teachers from other schools to come and coach?
Because you don't
Because it will
necessarily
be
need
more
to be.
complicated to transport the kids back and forth. It will be easier just to have one teacher. Let's just say an example. Okay, I'm like Joe Carlson, and I'm interested in coaching. I can just come to Roy Brain and offer and coach. I don't know. That's
Well, I
another
assume-
option.
I assume you did that.
Yes.
Open up to.
Well,
Didn't you do that?
I don't think it was posted,
Like district-wide,
I think it was mainly for the teachers at those sites.
But we can do that.
We
We can
can open
certainly
it.
do that.
Please.
Just like 21st Century, just like, tutoring. So we'll do that.
Yeah, I thought that you couldn't
Yeah.
find anybody at all that wanted to do it, not just in that building.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank
So
you
we'll
for
open
bringing
it
that
up.
up, because, yeah, you certainly can do that. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berring?
Yes, aye. Discussion action on the approval of volunteer, Ms. Samaniego?
As presented, the asterisk shows that the volunteers are returning. So they've got the approval from prior years, and then you have a few of them. There's 3 that are new volunteers, and you have some information in the background.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
A second.
By Ms. Salchow. Alejandro, you're gonna have to refrain from voting because your dad's on there. She'd have voted anyway. She's wondering what Any further discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berring?
Yes, and Alejandra, you know, when you come in and you make that perfunctory report, it's all factual, right? You come in and tell what the activities are. If you feel like there's anything casually you want to say about the school or anything else, feel free to mention it. I mean, if you hear the board discussing something about the high school or something that you know that the students feel strongly about or they don't, or you have some insight to it, feel free to speak up, because I think if I came in and just made that report and sat there and listened to all this boring conversation all the time so I wanted to say that. If you feel like you have anything casually you want to say, feel free to say it, okay? All right, we had the vote on that, right? Item K? No. J. Discussion information only for certified and classified transfers. Ms. Samaniego?
Again, this is just information only for position control.
Members of the board, do you have any questions or comments regarding any of that? Item K, discussion action on the approval of the donations received for Douglas Unified School District number 27. Ms. Samaniego?
We'll do that in a minute. K, we have donation of school supplies for DHS volleyball program for two DUSD teachers, estimated at $851. We also have a donation of youth shoes, backpacks, and school supplies for Migrant McKinney-Vento, in value of $1,700. Another donation of hygiene products for the McKinney-Vento program, students from Douglas Elks Lodge, estimated for $700. And donation of pink uniforms to DHS volleyball from Ms. Maria Trinta, estimated at $562.50. And two donors choose projects, one from Paul Huber, both of them are for Paul Huber. So as presented.
Motion to approve
I move to approve.
by Mr. Lindemann. Second?
Second.
Ms.
By Ms.
Elcha?
Ramos. I mean,
Ms. Elcha?
Mrs. Ramos. Mr. Ramos. Sorry about it.
Bring him a cup of
Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berring?
Yes, item L, discussion action on the approval of fiscal year 2023 capital plan submittal to the Arizona School Facilities Board. Mr. Soto.
Mr. President, this is something we do every year, and this is basically a report to the School Facilities Board about enrollment and square footage on the whole district. Again, hopefully, most likely next year we're going to have to modify that. It's always been the same square footage for many years. So hopefully, with the new project finished, then we're going to have an addition square footage to Douglas High School. Again, it's a yearly thing for your approval.
Move to approve the
Mr.
capital
Lindemann,
plan.
is there a second? Ms. Salchow, thank you.
Second.
Any discussion? You know, when you talk to the School Facilities Board, and I know what you're going to say, but would you ask them if they can do something about the front of the gym, of our gymnasium? I know they wouldn't do anything with the remodeling or anything like that, but just ask them, let them tell you no. But so that when I ask you the next time, you'd say, I asked them and they said
Say
no.
no.
Because the front of that gym is all cracked, it's horrible. It doesn't look good. I think we get so used to seeing it that it looks bad. There were windows up there at one time, they plastered them, you can see where
Right.
they're cracking with the windows. But just ask them.
I will.
And ask David Kennan.
Kennan.
Yeah. All right, roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berring?
Yes, item M, discussion action on the approval on the revision of the Douglas Unified School District Wellness Committee Manual. Ms. Samaniego.
This is our wellness policy, and if you had any chance to read your background information, the changes are in italics, and so the committee met, made some recommendations, and it's for board approval with the changes.
Entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Discussion?
Yes, I have a question. How many people are on the wellness committee?
There is Mr. Nunez. No, not Mr. Nunez. That's the other Fernando. I want to say
He's right there.
6.
there.
There you are. I didn't see you. Okay,
He's
how many
hiding.
people do you have on the committee?
We currently have like an average of 6 members, 2 in generally district, and 4 externally from U of A Health Zone.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Berrien?
Yes, discussion action on the approval of, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, before we go on, we forgot new hires. So if I have any new hires, can we
Sure,
do-
sure,
introduce them?
absolutely.
Do we have any new hires in? Yes.
Mr. Vidal.
Well, Mr. Vidal already, we already know. You can come in and introduce yourself. A former Douglas High School graduate.
Hello, President and Board. My name is Connie Alvarez, and we're glad to be a part of the
Food ser-
district.
Food service, right?
Food service worker, yes.
Well, nice to see you, Kalani.
Thank you so
What
much.
are you going to be doing?
Food service worker?
Oh, okay.
Cafeteria.
Good.
Yes.
All right, great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
Thank you. And you know, while we're at it, I want to no, you can go ahead and sit down. I want to recognize Mr. Kevin Smith, who will be a board member as soon as it's officially declared by the county school superintendent that the election is canceled. But until then, it's not official, but it will happen. So,
Unofficially.
unofficially. It's taken time, but she's got to go and cancel the election. But so Mr. Smith, we'll be talking and seeing about you and with you a little bit later. Okay, now we're on the LOR construction for Huber Middle School cafeteria and HVAC upgrades. Mr. Soto, were you going to do that?
Yeah, it's basically we just need board approval, just the SFP is a new requirement that they want us to, once their start on the construction phase for these projects, they want a board approval. And I know it's been, for the longest time, we've been trying to get the AC units in that cafeteria at Huber. Again, last year, it got approved before the end of the school year, but then they ran out of money. And they said, oh, by the way, we're going to have to wait until new monies come in. So now the monies are here. We just need the board approval so we can start with the construction phase of it.
Okay, and that money's coming from
The school facilities board. It's
Right.
like
Mr.
around
Berrien.
$250,000, yeah.
Can I ask a question? What does HVAC mean?
Heating and ventilation and air conditioning.
Okay. I need a little help on the acronyms.
Do we have a motion on the floor?
No, sir.
Not yet.
Mr. Lindeman?
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
yes,
Mr. Berrien?
Yes, that's item O. Discussion action on the approval of awarding Desert Springs for weatherization roofing and structural repairs at Ferris Elementary. Mr. Soto.
It's the same thing as a project funded by the school facilities board. This is a ratification because this has started some time ago. Then we had to stop because of the funding. Now we're back again with the new year. So this is a project that is going on at Ferris forever, right, Mr. Morales? But hopefully, again, we're just hoping for this to be finished soon. Again, these projects are a lot of money. This particular one at Ferris is close to $500,000 that the school facilities board gave us. So again, I know we have to go through the bureaucracy, but I mean, sometimes we just have to. So again, this is just a ratification, so we can continue and finish up the project at Ferris.
Motion to approve.
Move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman.
second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any discussion?
I just wanted to ask, these are, and if we don't take care of that, it'll get worse. So that'll cost more money in the long run, so.
Correct. That project at Ferris specifically is the two oldest wings. So they basically had to replace the roof. And there was some issues with the foundation and cracks on the floors. There's some other issues that while they were there found at different areas of the school, like at the NPR. There's some issues too that they're looking at. They have done already two studies about the ground and the movement on the ground there. Nothing very drastic, so They're just trying to fix up the problem. So again,
When are they gonna start that?
this one is already started.
Okay.
That's why I say it's a ratification, because the SFB now is requiring this for the board to approve. So we started last year, and then they run out of money, and then now we're going to continue again. So the company is already there. They're working, and we're just waiting for them to finish up.
There's no foreseen dangers for the students or?
There's no
staff or
students.
anything?
The students were moved to all the other vacant classrooms. But again, those, they're taking space that they need because there was a special ed on that last wing and kinder and first grade, I believe, right, Mr. Morales, on the other wing. And they're just on the former preschool classrooms that are a lot smaller. So that's why we need this to be done as soon as possible.
Thank you.
What, okay, is Desert Springs the company, but where are they from?
Believe they're based in Tucson. Sometimes they bring workers from Sierra Vista. It's a contractor, and whenever they bring
Okay, but
people.
it's a company out of Tucson.
Yes.
Okay.
Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes, item P, discussion action on the approval to appoint Ms. Janice Salchow to represent Douglas Unified School District Number 27 as the district delegate to the Arizona School Boards Association Delegate Assembly on September the 10th, 2022.
Move to approve.
By Mr. Lindemann,
Second.
second by Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Ms. Salchow?
Good luck.
Good luck. Thank you very much for entrusting me with this auspicious thing.
Well, Mr. Lindemann was the one that did all the lobbying.
Thank you. Thank you so
Roll
much.
call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes, Q, discussion action on the approval of the Arizona School Boards Association's draft 2023 political agenda and direct the district's delegate to the ASBA Delegate Assembly to represent the board's determined position. How do you want to handle that?
As presented, all you have to do is approve the draft political agenda.
Anything you want to point out that, I mean, there's
quite a
plenty,
bit.
but,
If I may, Mr. President.
go ahead, Mr.
A lot of this is the same as they have in the past, that hasn't actually been acted on by the legislature. There is some additions, though, that keep it up to date. So I look at it, and I think it's really good.
Okay, thank you. All right. Entertain a motion to approve
Move to approve.
by Mr. Lindemann,
Second.
by Ms. Salchow. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes. Information items, Ms. Samaniego?
Announcements, we have, parent-teacher conferences, the early release on September 8th and 9th, and our regular next board meeting is on October 4th. And we will be attending the ASBA Law Conference along with Mr. Lindemann and Mrs. Selchow this week.
Anybody else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ramos. All those in favor?
Aye.